Okay, Marlon here, or Hayes Omega, and I got another video about the Suron Light B. So today I'm going to be installing these guys. So these are some Shimano brake pads that I got off of Amazon. This bike has indicated, it has 900 miles. I don't know if that's accurate. I would say it probably has around 700. The speedometer is way off on this thing. But it had 700 miles when I first got it. And now it has 900, so I figure it's probably a good idea to go change the brake pads. Plus, they're going to the racetrack on Wednesday, so I want to make sure there's some fresh pads in the rotors. The bike can go 10 miles per hour faster than it could before, so I'd imagine it's probably gonna need good brakes. But we'll see. We'll find out when we get there. Alright, so yeah, I will be replacing the front brakes. I'd imagine, I think it uses the same brake pads front and back, so you can do the same thing on both sides, but we're going to do this, just do the front. Plus, I'm kind of curious how worn out they are. I think they're still okay, but they're getting kind of low, I'm thinking, so I'm just going to install some new brake pads. So. Alright, okay, so also if you're wondering what kind of brake pads these are, this is a Shimano, it says Shimano disc brake pad D02 Sierra, Delta 02 Sierra. It says it's metal, so these are metallic pads. I think the stock pads on the Suron are metallic. So I think it should be fine. Also, it shows there's a picture of a hand and the sun and a cloud with, right. So I think it's good. It's a good all-weather pad. That's what. And yeah, so they're made in Japan. This is the real deal, the good stuff right here, Shimano. They make bike parts. So, and I got them on Amazon, and I got them for $22. It says there. So, yeah. Funny thing is they're much smaller than motorcycle brake pads, and they cost almost as much. Because the brake pads will cost around anywhere from $30 to $50 for a motorcycle, depending on the bike. But these are much smaller. Yeah, I feel like you don't get as much for what you pay for. Yeah. So, and these are it says Saint Z on it. So that's another type of pad here. So this is metal pad, D02S, and spring. So it has a little spring in there, and has a little cotter pin. I don't think we're going to use the cotter pin. The Suron uses a different type of thing. So, all right. So I'm not gonna lie, Hayes Omega doesn't really know how to change the brake pads on a hydraulic disc brake mountain bike, because when Hayes Omega rode a lot of bicycles and stuff, we didn't have that kind of stuff. All my disc brakes on my bikes are the mechanical ones, so this is it's new stuff for me. This is high-end mountain bike stuff, so it seems like it's more complicated than a motorcycle, but probably isn't. So. All right, so let's go try to tackle this so I can use these at the track. It's definitely gonna probably need some break-in time too. So, all right. Okay, Hayes Omega here. So we will be working on this part of the bike right here. I put it on a stand so you guys can, so it's a little easier to work on, but I don't think you really need it. I watched some videos online about how to do this from Partool again, and they say you have to take the wheel off, but I don't think you have to take the wheel off. We'll see. We'll see if we can do it without taking the wheel off. If not, then we'll do it. We'll take the wheel off. So first we gotta take the brakes off, obviously. And to do that, the brake pads, there is a clip right here. It's kind of like a C-clip, sort of, kind of. Just kind of pull it off. I did it before. Okay, so there's the clip right there. It looks like a C-clip with a little, it's kind of like, it's got a little spoon sticking out of it, so you can grab it with your fingernail. So make sure you put that someplace safe. So that's out, but the pin will still, so there's a pin holding the pad in, and then there's a spring clip right here. I'm pretty sure it's got to go out through the top, I think. All right, we're going to get an Allen wrench for that. Okay, so it takes a 2mm Allen wrench. I'm just going to stick it right here where the pin is and unscrew it. Pin is out. That's what it looks like. I don't know, maybe you might want to grease that, because it kind of does slide around on it, so I would put a little bit of grease on that to clean the dirt off. A little brake dust, I can see there's a little bit of brake dust on it. Okay, so set that somewhere safe, and then I think all you have to do, really have to do, is just, so there's a metal tab right here, and I think you just pull it straight out. Ooh, it's like magic. Okay. Well, there's the spring clip right there. We could probably reuse it. It looks like it's in good shape still. And it looks like the pads just came out one by one. Okay. So there's the brake pads. Actually, that was really easy, and we didn't have to take the wheel off. So it looks like yeah, they're pretty much dead. It looks like one side of the pad is wearing out faster than the other too. It seems like the trailing edge is wearing out faster than the leading edge. No. The trailing is the back. Okay, so supposedly it should be 1mm. There should be 1mm of pad left. So I'll go try to measure that right now. Okay, I don't know if these are the stock pads or the Sauron pads. Like I said, this bike has like 900 miles on it. I imagine maybe they probably changed the brakes at some point. They did ride this in San Francisco where there's a lot of hills and you need brakes all the time. So it looks like you can install them. Looks like you could flip them. So a good thing to do if you got some uneven wear like that would be to flip the pads, and then it might wear a little better. How many pistons is that? Oh, it's got 4. Okay, it's got 4 pistons. So yeah, it's got 2 on each side. So so maybe one of the pistons is coming out more than the other. I'm not sure. Maybe it needs a brake bleed or something. But anyway, so we'll check the pad thickness, and to do that, you use a caliper, and basically you just kind of put the end that sticks out here, press down. Okay, and it's 0.56 millimeter. I'll just read it off to you. It's 0.56 on the smaller side, and okay, and that's 1.36 on the other side. So wow, that's a big difference. It's almost 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter. So one thing you might want to do is to inspect the pads. Just take them out and look at them, and then what you're going to want to do is I think you could flip them. It looks like you can flip them. If it's wearing on one side more than the other, flip it. That way it'll wear on the other side faster. So anyway, but we're going to put some new pads in anyways. It doesn't matter. So these are done. I'm pretty much. The one side is really low and the other side is not as low, but it should be more than 1 millimeter is what it should be, or up to 1 millimeter. So these are technically, they're done. And there's a spring clip. So like I said, you could probably flip them. I could probably flip them around and get them a little more life out of them, but I think I'm going to keep these, and when the rears wear out, I think I'm just going to swap them with this. I don't really need a really high performance brake. I think those Shimano brakes are better brake pad than this. So they say one of the first things you upgrade on the brakes is the pads. So and they seem okay, I guess. Yeah, so I could flip it. So what the trailing edge, right? Yeah, that's kind of weird, the trailing edge. You would think the leading edge would be worn out. No, it's just one of them. Yeah, only one of them. So we got some like uneven pad wear. Because if I check them all, let's check them all. So the way I'm checking it is I'm using this little tail here that's sticking out, and I'm pressing down on it until it hits the pad, the rest of it. So that one is 0.5 on that side, and this is 1 on that side, and this is the other one that I think we did. This is 0.5. So yeah, these are pretty done. I don't think I would want to reuse these. Probably a good idea to just chuck them. This is a 1 also. So it's a 1. It's 0.5 to 1. They're pretty much done. So as I had suspected, they're done. All right. So next thing to do is install the new pads. Okay. So we're gonna take our Shimano brake pads, our St. Z brake pads out. Let's do it like this. Probably could have still used those pads for a little bit longer. So here's the new pads. So just in case you're wondering how much meat a brand new pad has, this has 1.8. Not a lot. Not a lot. Yeah, 1.8 millimeters. So you really only got like almost just 1 millimeter to use up. You know, hopefully they last a long time. I think these do last a long time. The metallic pads last longer, but they eat your rotors faster. So these rotors, they look like they're okay. Okay, so we're just going to do the opposite of what we did. Is we're going to just slide the pads in. Between the disc. Or oh, you know what? What we got to do is we got to push the pistons in. Okay. So to do that, you need some kind of flat tool. Okay. So this is going to be our flat tool, a tire iron right here. You could probably use a screwdriver, some kind of gasket scraper, a chisel maybe. Just got to get something in there flat and then push on it. So, all right. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. So yeah, the pads won't go back in because the pistons are sticking out because of the worn out dealie. So what you're going to do is just stick the pad in there and then press against the piston. It should move in. Try not to press on the rotor too much. You may bend the rotor. So okay. I'm just kind of doing one at a time too. So okay, and then so there's 4 pistons. So that I just pressed in this bottom one and the top one right here on the right side. So now we got to go do the other side. So. Okay, so what's happening is I didn't push the piston in enough. Now it's pretty much flush with the caliper, and it should fit now. The other side wasn't fitting though, so okay, it fits now. Okay, so the caliper is out of alignment. You need to so what the problem is that there's a bigger gap on one side than the other, so we gotta fix that. The way we can fix that is to loosen. So it's a 5 millimeter. Just gonna loosen the caliper a bit. Okay, so now it's loose. You can actually move the caliper around. Motorcycle calipers are better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the caliper out. I'm having a hard time here. Not going to lie. I'm going to remove the caliper from the bracket. Just remember which one you put the bolt on. I think it's easier if you just take it. So I can see that this one pushed in. I can see this one is pushed in here. This piston is pushed in. This one right here isn't pushed in all the way. So you want to get it all the way in there, dude. We're going to go get our tire iron. Just push on the pistons. Oh, this rotor, this caliper is so dirty too. Okay, there we go. I think it's easier to do it if you take the caliper out. And then, so take it out and then make sure you're pushing the pistons in all the way. It's like they go in and they kind of pop out again. See? What the hell? And you can use the caliper itself as to lever on to be able to push those pistons in. I think when you push one in, the other ones go out. That's what's happening here. Yeah, one's a little more springy than others. I think I have a stuck caliper or a stuck piston. Oh, that's pretty far in there. Okay. Okay, so now since we got it off, might as well just install it like this. So before we install this, okay, let me get our pin. I'm gonna go put a little bit of grease on it, just a little bit. I'm gonna use this stuff here, some Valvoline grease. Yeah, pretty much any kind of grease will work. Just get a little dab, and then just stick it on there and just slather it around a little bit. Okay. That way it slides on that pin nicely. Okay. Yeah, so I said you could probably do it with the caliper on there, but like installing him, I guess you can't. I think this is, so your spring clip is supposed to go just like that, and with the other one on top. So there you go, and it kind of presses the pads out a bit. Just line all that up, stick it in there. Okay. What a pain in the ass. This is it's not hard, but it's not easy either. Okay, then just stick your pin in there. Try to get it through everything. Okay. You'll get your Allen wrench. Snug that. We'll worry about putting the clip back in later. Let's put that in there. I'm not really sure how tight. Probably just snug. Okay. And then yeah, so it's pretty much installed already. And then go ahead and try to slide it between your rotor. It's tight, really tight fit now. Okay. Okay, and then what you're gonna do next is put your bolts back in. Sorry about the lighting. I'm doing everything in front of the light here, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on. Okay. Just tighten it a little bit at a time. Okay. So now what you're going to want to do, so the way I heard to align these is to squeeze the brake pad, brake lever. So what I'm going to do is squeeze the brake lever, and it's going to self-align the pads pretty much. Wow. Okay. Okay. Squeeze the brake lever a couple times, and then you're going to want to tighten your mounts, and that aligns it in the center. Okay. That's good. You're going to want to tighten that. Okay, so I've kind of tightened it to where the blue marks are. That's where it was before. And boy, is it a lot tighter now. Okay, so that should be it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to torque it though. Okay, I'm not 100%, but I think the torque should be 8 to 10 Newton meters. I set it at 10 Newton meters, so I'll do the trick. Let's go ahead and torque it. Okay. Oh, I can't get it in for this one. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a different okay, so this one I have to get a longer thingy. Okay, should be fine. If you don't have a torque wrench, they have these blue marks here. Just try to line them up as best you can. Yeah. So that should be it. So now we gotta check to see if it drags. Okay, so I got the one side of the fork propped up on a jack stand to keep it off the ground. So, and then just go ahead and spin your wheel. Just make sure. Wait, it's touching it a lot. A little bit. If you think that it's not aligned properly, go ahead and just go ahead and loosen it again, and then try to readjust it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, well, that's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. It's a little bit better. It sounds a little bit better now. So if you think the brakes are dragging, just make sure you align it again. Loosen the two bolts here, and it'll let the caliper float. And then squeeze the brakes, and then tighten it. And then that should set it in that position forever. And then what could have happened why these pads were not wearing evenly is, well, it could be there could be a sticking piston in there, or this wasn't properly aligned. So probably every time you change the wheels, or every time you take the wheel off and put it back on, you probably want to try and realign that. It's not that hard, it's best if you have a torque wrench. So let's just give it a little test again. Not too bad, just a little bit of, I hear a little bit of noise. Hear it? So I don't know what that could be, but it's okay. It's still kind of freewheeling pretty good. Maybe just the pad, when the pad's flaring, it won't make that noise. But stops good. So take it out for a test ride. Oh yeah, before we take it out for a test ride, don't forget to put your little safety clip back in. This little guy here. Okay, so for my last trick today, we will reinstall the little safety clip. So there's a little groove here at the end of the pin. That's where you want that to go. Okay, and there it is. And just make sure that pin is snug. I guess it could be loose. That pin is just there. This pin is just here to prevent the pin from backing out all the way and your brake pads falling out. So there we go. So that was how to replace your front brake pads on the Sur-Ron Light B. I did say that we were going to try to do it without taking the wheel off. We did it without taking the wheel off. It was fine. But taking the caliper out helps a lot. So I would take the caliper out. It'll make it easier. So it's just those two 5mm bolts got to come out, and then just make sure you push the pistons back in with I use a tire lever. It worked really good. If you take the caliper out it makes it easier because you can use the caliper as a lever. I wouldn't lever on the disc brake because it may bend. You don't want that to bend. It's kind of flimsy, you know. It's not like a motorcycle. It's not like a motorcycle brake disc, dude. It's a lot flimsier than a motorcycle one. So, yeah. And then what I did is I greased the pin because I knew that stuff moves around a little bit, so I didn't want it to get like all corroded and stuff. I saw some corrosion on it. And then just make sure you torque it to like 8 to 10 Newton meters, or just line up the blue marks. It looks like it went a little bit farther than the blue marks, so I don't know. It's either my wrench is out of calibration, or they didn't torque it very tight. But it's 8 to 10, so I think that's okay also. And then just make sure you put the clip on, and then you align everything, and then yeah, so that's how you do it. I'd imagine the rear is the same dealie. It's the same brake, pretty much. That's the rear. It uses the same pads, and it's probably the same process. It's probably even easier because this is a little easier area to work with. It's like up high, whereas that one is down low. So when I change the rear brake pads, I'll do another video on that one. But this one is just specifically for the front. But like I said, they're the same brakes, so it's probably the same process for the rear. That's what I gotta say. So all right, there you go. That's how to change your brake pads on your Sur-Ron Lightbeat. I use the Shimano Saint Z brake pads. They're metallic brake pads. They were $21. I got on Amazon. You could probably get them at your local bicycle shop too. It took, I don't know, maybe like half an hour to do this. It took a little while. It took a little while for me to do this because I had to kind of figure it out. The tutorials I watched online, wasn't exactly like this, and that's why I'm making this video, so to help you guys out. And so the tools I used were like 5mm Allen wrench, a 3mm Allen wrench. I used a caliper to measure the thickness of the brake pads. If you're replacing it, you don't really need to, but I was just curious. And those were worn out, so it's a good thing we're replacing them. We would definitely have more braking power now after we break them in. And then a torque wrench and a tire lever. Torque wrench, obviously, you torque the bolt back in, and then a tire lever to push the pistons back in. Or you could use a screwdriver, something flat. Something flat that you could lever with. The tire lever did the trick, though. That worked really good. That's a motorcycle tire lever, by the way. And I use a little bit of grease on the pin because it's a moving part. All right, so I hope you guys learned something. Here's me out.